To be with you this morning. I want to share with you just a brief verse passage from Psalm 144 because there is so much buzz going on right now with regards to the election. And I'm going to take a chance to step out on this ice, which for me is not thin at all, but I know that people of good hearts and of good intention, deeply committed to the God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, disagree. It baffles me some. But anyway, here it goes. Here's our verse for this morning. In Psalm 144, verse 15, it says this: "Blessed are the people to whom such blessings fall." And it's talking about all the blessings of God. Your cattle are bearing other young, and your flocks are prospering, and all. He says, "Blessed are the people to whom such blessings fall, and blessed are the people whose God is the Lord." So let me say this right up front. In this election, we are not voting for a Messiah. Thank God we already have one. We don't need another one. We've got the best one that could ever be. Secondly, pardon me for my this morning. It seems like it's a heavy allergy season here in Florida again, and I've never been allergic to anything, but I do get a little stuffy from time to time. Anyway, that's my excuse for growling and graveling this morning. So pardon me for that. We are one of the few nations in the world that actually has the privilege and, excuse me, the responsibility that goes along with that of electing many of the people who have a say over our lives. Now, our family, our entire family, lives here in Jacksonville, Florida. Jacksonville has a unique history, a unique past, and it is a godly one. Here in Jacksonville, the first hymns that were sung to the Lord were sung here on this soil. They were sung by French Huguenots who came here looking for a land where they could worship the God of Israel, the God of the universe, the God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, in spirit and in truth, without being told by a national religious system. In France, it happened to be the Roman Catholic faith. And they were told in France that they had to be Catholic or get out, be Catholic or perish. And so they got in boats. Sounds familiar, doesn't it? The same thing happened in Spain to the Jewish population. And so we have this history. We have this history of oppressed religious systems that pushed out God-fearing people of good conscience who simply wanted to worship God the way they knew him. And America, this land, this North American continent, was a bastion of freedom. It was a place that offered you a place where your conscience could not be controlled or dictated or mandated. This was a place of liberty, freedom, and justice for all. So with freedom comes responsibility. And so another thing happened here on this soil. Those same French Huguenots back in the 1500s, I believe it was the early 1500s. Remember, Columbus sailed the ocean blue, 1492. His ship was strong and they were brave and blah, blah, blah. Probably another Jewish believer. His boats were also filled with Jews who were fleeing Spain at the time. Anyway, that aside, this group of French Huguenots who came to worship the Lord settled here in Jacksonville. There was the religious system that they were fleeing Europe had already taken hold in St. Augustine, which is just a few miles south of us, the oldest city in the United States. A lovely place. But when the Spaniards heard that the French had landed here and they had set up a colony and they were worshiping God, they sailed up the St. Johns River, one of, I believe it's only 2 rivers in the world that flows south to north, and slaughtered them, men, women, and children. Freedom was destroyed at that point. So the establishment of the United States, the Constitution of the United States, the Bill of Rights was all set up so that we could have this freedom that many paid the price of their own blood. That should give us pause. Huh? There has come now of late lots of dissension on social media. I think this, I think that, and there's arrows and spears being thrown and barbs and whatnot. So what do I say to people when they ask me, what should I do? My answer is this: vote for righteousness. Vote, yes, vote. When we have the opportunity to make a choice between righteousness and unrighteousness, when it's our responsibility or our privilege, I say that it is our responsibility to take up that position. Now, you've heard other things coming out. I know that there are others in places of leadership who are saying other things. But this is my opinion. This is what I believe is right before the Lord. And I want to motivate you today. If you're unsure, pray. Ask the Lord what you should do. We have choices coming up in just a few days between destruction of babies in the womb all the way up and past birth, whether they would be destroyed or allowed to live, and limiting what people are now calling the choice article, that a woman has free choice over her own body. The problem with that is she's also carrying another person inside that is viable and has a heartbeat and feels pain after just a few weeks' time. See, one of the problems in our culture today is that people will cover up their sin by changing the discussion. We change vocabulary. We change infant or baby in the womb to cell mass and other, the same dehumanization language, hear this, that happened to our own Jewish people just half a century ago all over the world, where Jews were brought down from being human beings to simply living organisms that had no rights, that had no privileges, and were to be destroyed. I don't know of a nation on earth that stood up against that, except perhaps Copenhagen, and there was a king there who wore yellow stars and told all of his people to wear yellow stars so that the Nazis wouldn't be able to tell who was a Jew and who wasn't. They took away that distinctive. And so I want to encourage you today, if you're unsure, if you're confused, don't just throw up your hands and say, I don't know, I'm not going to do anything. That is simply the wrong path to take. Pray and ask the Lord so that at least you can say, this is what I believe the Lord said to me. Happy are the people whose God is the Lord. One other thing I want to express to you is the prayer that Yeshua taught us to pray in Matthew chapter 6 contains one very significant line. He said, when you pray, pray this way: Our Father who's in heaven, holy, separate, other is your name. Your kingdom come, and your will be done on earth, hear this, as it is in heaven. Whew, that's a big line. Then we might say, well, who's gone up to heaven to see what it's like? Or who? Well, we have the life of Yeshua, don't we? He said, if you've seen me, you've seen my Father. Years ago, there was a revival of sorts, and people were wearing these WWJD bracelets. What would Jesus do? Even in the Messianic community, we changed that to WWYD. What would Yeshua do? Would the opportunity given, would he speak? Would he support life? Or would he speak for the destruction of life? Since he's the life giver, I can assure you, given the opportunity, he would speak for life. The big issues on this agenda, this platform, this particular voting season are life, support of Israel. Then there's other things like more or less taxes and the Green New Deal and all the rest, which I see as very far down. If we want the blessing of God on ourselves, on our homes, freedom to make our own choice of religion. Remember, there's one party that stands for freedom of faith and has been defending our right to pray and to follow our conscience, and another that looks to control it more and more and more, taking away our freedoms. Happy are the people whose God is the Lord. As for me and my house, we will serve the Lord. No, we're not voting whether Jesus is Lord or not. We have the privilege and the opportunity to hear what someone is saying and standing for and saying, yes, I support this. The voices of opposing the gospel, opposing the word of God, opposing individual rights and freedoms are growing louder and louder, and they're becoming more and more violent. Let's be wise as serpents, gentle as doves, but let us be a people of righteousness. Pray, ask the Lord what you should do, and then do it. Yes, this is an important voting cycle, because the things that are being proposed on both sides of the aisle will have ripple effects that take us well into the future. How do you want to live? Do you want to live free? Do you want to live as a person who can follow your own conscience? Do you want to be a person whose tax monies are not being used for abortion on demand? It is so ungodly. Listen, people are going to do what they're going to do, but I will not pay for that. And our tax dollars are being used for such ungodliness. I want to see it come to an end. As for me and my house, we'll serve the Lord. We will love men, women, people of every nation, tribe, tongue. I think we've proved that pretty well in our 45 years of traveling the world and sharing the gospel, not pointing fingers, but inviting people into a relationship with the God of the universe. So again today, pray, ask the Lord, and do what he shows you to do. But I want to encourage you, vote for righteousness. Happy are the people whose God is the Lord. Let me pray for you. Father, I thank you for my friends today who logged in, who've been watching and listening. And Lord, you said that your sons and daughters hear your voice, and a stranger's voice they will not follow. Lord, I thank you that you are speaking. Give us ears that hear, eyes that see, and undivided hearts that will follow you no matter where you lead us. Lord, shine the light of your word on our lives today and give us the faith to do what you say, like Jesus did what he saw his Father do. And Father, we'll give you thanks and praise in the name of Yeshua, Jesus our King. Amen. Thanks for joining me today. It's always a privilege to come to you here in this, I'm in my new digs here at Celebration Church. Just want to remind you that we so appreciate your support. Many of you have joined us during these last several months as world partners, which is someone who stands with us monthly, $30 or more per month. You hear from us every month, our special newsletter, and we're beginning to travel now more and more. In fact, last week I was in Colorado fighting fires. Oh, it was amazing. We flew into Denver, and the sky was red and gray with the fires that had been burning for 2 months. We could see it coming over the mountains, and we began to pray as soon as we landed. It was even hard to breathe. The smoke was so thick. Well, that night, we had a concert, quote-unquote concert, in Longmont. As we drove towards Longmont, we were driving right into the fires. So, of course, we took quite a bit of time that night and prayed with the people that came. About 100 people came out and joined us. We prayed, and as we prayed, I saw in the spirit a blanket, a wet blanket coming down over the mountains. I expressed it to the people. There's a verse in Job that the heavens press in on the earth and they mark it like a stamp, like a seal. The earth takes the impression of heaven pressing in. And I'm sorry, it's one of the last chapters anyway. So this is what I expressed as we were praying. The next morning, got up to do a service at this same church, and lo and behold, there was a thick, heavy fog and cloud. It wasn't raining, it was misting that was laying on top of the city. And to tell you the truth, I thought nothing of it until I got to church and we're talking, and I'm having my tea before we're going to start the service. And the pastor says, look what God did. And there was no smoke in the air. This heavy, wet blanket just laid down on top of the mountains and on top of us. As we left the city a couple hours later, I looked at there was no smoke coming from the mountains. It couldn't because of the heavy, wet blanket that was laying down on top. The Lord is amazing. Anyway, you'll hear of all kinds of things like that. If you join us as a world partner, we send you this CD, Roar from Zion. It's an instrumental, brand new. We just created this for those who join us as world partners. By the way, this week I will be in Texas, in Dallas, to sing over America, or I'll be in Mississippi, one of the two. Not really sure. I'll be in Mississippi this weekend and Dallas the next weekend. Or if you go to our website, it will take all of my confusion away, wilburministries.com, and you can find our schedule there, which is beginning to crank up a little bit. Also, if you go to the App Store, we have a new app, and all of our media is there. Go to the App Store and just download Wilbur Ministries. So you'll get Motivational Monday, you'll get Worship Wednesday, you'll get Shabbat in your home, and a whole bunch more. Both of those places have so much to offer. And someday I'll teach my daughter-in-law how to use her cell phone so it won't keep playing while I'm talking here. Anyway, I still love her. So join us as a world partner. How do you do that? You can click on the description right here on this page. It will take you to a link that shows you how to do that. We'll send you this CD, Roar from Zion. But in the month of October, we will also send you this beautiful new instrumental CD, Selah. There are 11 songs on here. And my good friend, Michael Coleman, who founded Integrity Music, that I was a part of for nearly 30 years, he heard this. He called me. He said, Paul, I've made a lot of instrumental records over the years, but yours is my favorite. That's a good recommendation. Join us as a world partner. We'll send you that one. And Lineage is a brand new CD of live praise and worship from right here at our home church in Jacksonville, Florida, Celebration Church. We've just released this brand new CD. Yes, I'm on it. I co-wrote one of the songs along with Ryan and Marie Hodges, the leaders of the worship teams here in Jacksonville, and I sing on it as well, and we will send you this one also for joining us as a world partner, so you won't have to buy any of it. That's a pretty good deal. So $15 a piece, $45 if you join us as a world partner this month, October, for $30 or more per month. We'll send all of these to you, and we have more as well. So, wow, a lot today. I hope you're encouraged. I hope you were motivated. Listen, God has given us a unique opportunity among the nations to let our voice be heard and to give a platform for his kingdom on earth as it is in heaven. Listen for his voice today and do what he says. No, I'm not going to tell you what I did. I did what he told me to do. All right, until I see you again on Worship Wednesday or Shabbat in your home, may the Lord bless you and keep you. May the Lord make his face shine upon you and be gracious unto you. May the Lord lift up his countenance upon you and give you his peace. In the name of Yeshua, our Messiah, the Prince of Peace. That's my Harley Davidson clock that does that motor sound every hour, telling me it's time to say, Shalom, look forward to seeing you again really soon.